everyone, and welcome to my video. In my paper, I will be discussing Chris Cleave's book, Little B, or in other references, The Other Hand. Let's get started. Imagine escaping your own death only to wish that you were dead. These are the kind of options that some immigrants must face as they travel the world, whether to stay and die in their homeland or to wish upon a star that someone or something in this world saves them. As immigration becomes a trending topic in developed countries, the treatment of immigrants is only getting worse. Now developed countries implementing hardcore policies against them and making it extremely strenuous for immigrants, especially asylum seekers, to obtain asylum or citizenships in these countries. Prior to 1971, the UK had little to no immigration laws. However, a surge in immigrants all over the world caused the UK to close their borders to everyone. In my paper, I will be discussing how Cleave uses the book Little B to reflect on the process that asylum seekers must go through in the UK and how he accurately mirrors the policies against them. In the book, Cleave documents Little B's journey from Nigeria to the UK after she witnesses the massacre of her whole village over an oil war in Nigeria. Since Little B came to the UK illegally as a stowaway in a ship, the captain spared her no mercy by turning her into the immigration police. And Little B's first stop is the Black Hill Immigration Removal Center in the UK. In the detention center, she got little to no food or water or any grooming products. Little B was simply all on her own. To reflect on her experience in the detention center, Little B says, 2 years I lived in that detention center. I was 14 when I came to your countries, but I did not have any papers to prove it, so they put me in the same detention center as adults. This is rough for a teenager who's barely begun life and has already gotten every short end of the stick. However, Little B makes the best out of her time in prison as she learns to speak English and as she maps out how her life will be in England, which keeps her sane through her time in the detention center. Here, Cleave mirrors what would actually happen in the UK according to their 1993 Asylum and Immigration Act appeal, which restricts immigrants from accessing asylum benefits and exploring the land. Instead, they must be held in the detention center until their case is determined. This is inhumane in the sense that this can go on for months and also years, like Little B's, plus the inhumane conditions that they have to experience while they're in there. Okay, while Little B is in jail, she keeps her head down, she learns English, she dresses in boys' clothing to stay out of everyone's way. Little B says, to survive, you must look good or talk good. We see this plays out as Yvette, the beautiful Jamaican girl, gets Little B and herself out of jail. She says, me did a favor for one of them immigration men, all right? He make a few changes on the computer, just put a tick in the box, and pow, up come the names for the release. Just like all forms of society, countries like people who make them look good. They would rather immigrants that offer them some form of conversation, whether it be looks or skill, than someone who needs actual protection. Cleaves is directly commenting on the 2002 legislation, which follows the UK, which allowed candidates to come to the UK as a turning point. The government expanded economic immigration and for the first time introduced visas for highly skilled economic immigrants to come to the United Kingdom without a job offer, but simply based on their skills. However, since Little B was let out of jail on accidental purpose and is seeking asylum, she has no rights in their country and is therefore vulnerable to everybody there. Relying on only the people she knew in the UK, Little B reaches out to Andrew and Sarah, which ultimately goes bad because Andrew isn't ready to deal with the guilt that he let Little B's sister die. So he ends up killing himself just as soon as Little B gets there, and Little B really gets to meet and bond with Sarah and Andrew's son, Charlie. becoming Charlie's main caretaker in a way as Sarah kind of processes her husband's death and her Mr., which Little B and her Mr. Lawrence they do not get along at all. Lawrence he feels as though Little B is hindering Sarah. He's causing her harm by coming here because at the end of the day, she is illegal and she can get in trouble for harboring a illegal asylum, and he's also a part of a government. So everybody can get in trouble for her being there, including her, which can ultimately end up in her getting sent back to Nigeria. He tells Sarah to basically let Little B go back to Nigeria. He says, "We have a whole department concentrated on ensuring that it will come to that. Officially, Nigeria is pretty safe, and she's got no family here by her own admission." Cleave is speaking to the fact that Cleave is speaking to all the guidelines that one must follow to obtain asylum in the UK. The determining factors for receiving asylum is whether the individual meets the criteria contained in the Article of Refugees Convention and Protocol, which state one must be in fear of persecution for reasons of race, religion, nationality, membership or of a particular social group or political opinion, and is outside the country of his or her nationality, and is unable or owing to such fear and is unwilling to enable himself to the protection of that country. So that was a lot. So basically, it's saying that the person has to be so scared to go back to their country that they will stay here by any means necessary. And they challenged this by saying, okay, you want to stay here? Stay in this detention center until we can get it figured out. Right? Plus, another guideline they have to abide by is arriving at the port of UK, which Little B didn't because she came as a stowaway on a ship. So that automatically crosses her out of getting asylum there, especially if they catch her. Little B's story is an acornist story of all immigrants across the world. Chris Cleave did not write this book to explain to immigrants back home. He wrote this book to explain to the people in the UK, in developed countries, what is going on in these countries as far as detention centers and immigrants. What I mean when I say this is in the book, he says, if I was to explain this back home, Little B says, obviously, if I was to explain this to the girls back home, I would need to do this. I would need to do this. First, I would need to break down these concepts. However, that isn't the real point. He is commenting on the fact that we don't need to tell the people in Africa what's going on in the UK. We need to tell the people in the UK what's going on in the UK, how they're treating people inhumanely. So that's what he's getting at with this. He uses his platform to raise awareness of immigrants and asylum seekers, the policies and the laws against them, and hopefully to inspire the world to not be bystanders in this huge problem. This problem of immigration is a problem in most developed countries, and they're treating them like animals at the end of the day, keeping them in cages with little to no sunlight, with no grooming products, with no food, no water. These are basic essential necessities that people need to survive. So this book, regardless of race and age, it was needed. Yes, he's a white man who couldn't possibly know what it's like to be an immigrant. The fact that he wrote this book and he took this much time to dedicate research and money to this is a cause worthy of it. And he has all my praise. He went above and beyond to write this book, and I am greatly appreciative of the awareness I got from Little B. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Have a great day.